Half human, half fish, completely captivating. Mermaids have appeared in every culture across the globe for thousands of years. But where did these stories come from, and could there be any truth behind the legend? Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious world of mermaids. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're exploring one of humanity's most enduring myths. From ancient tablets to modern movies, mermaid stories have persisted across cultures and centuries. But before you dismiss them as pure fantasy, let's examine the evidence. The earliest mermaid story dates back to ancient Assyria, around 1000 BCE. The goddess Atargates accidentally killed her human lover and, in shame, jumped into a lake to become a fish. But her beauty was too great, so she became half human, half fish instead. Ancient Greece gave us the sirens, not quite mermaids but close relatives who lured sailors to their doom with enchanting songs. The Greeks also told stories of Triton, Poseidon's mermaid son, and the Nereids, 50 sea nymphs who helped sailors in distress. But here's what's fascinating. Similar stories emerged independently across the world. Celtic Selkies, Slavic Rusalka, Caribbean Ikaia, Japanese Ningyo, and African Mami Wada all describe human fish hybrids. This global consistency suggests either shared human psychology or something more. Now let's talk about what sailors might have actually seen. The most popular explanation: manatees and dugongs. Christopher Columbus himself reported mermaid sightings during his voyages, describing them as not as pretty as they are depicted, for somehow in the face they look like men. This description perfectly matches a manatee, large marine mammals that can appear humanoid when viewed from a distance. Manatees have several mermaid-like characteristics. They're large, gray marine mammals. Females nurse their young while floating upright, cradling bobbies in their flippers. They have human-like eyes and can rotate their heads. From a distance, especially in poor visibility, they could easily be mistaken for something else entirely. But manatees aren't the only explanation. Consider the leopard seal, an aggressive Antarctic predator that can rear up out of the water, displaying a human-like torso. Or think about dolphins and whales breaching the surface, their sleek bodies glistening in the sunlight. To exhausted, dehydrated sailors on long voyages, these sightings could easily transform into something magical. There's also the psychological factor. Sailors spent months at sea, isolated from human contact, especially women. Pareidolia, our brain's tendency to see familiar patterns in random shapes, combined with wishful thinking and maritime folklore, could turn any unusual sea creature into a beautiful mermaid. But wait, there's more to consider. In 2012, the National Ocean Service had to officially state that no evidence of aquatic humanoids has ever been found. This came after increased speculation following fictional documentaries. However, we've only explored about 5% of our oceans. Could there be unknown species lurking in the deep? The ocean is full of bizarre creatures that seem almost mythical. The blobfish, vampire squid, goblin shark, and giant tube worms all look like they belong in science fiction. If these creatures exist, what else might be down there? Some researchers suggest that if mermaids existed, they'd likely be deep-sea creatures, evolved from early human ancestors who returned to the ocean millions of years ago. This theory, called the aquatic ape hypothesis, suggests that human ancestors went through an aquatic phase, explaining our lack of body hair, upright posture, and ability to hold our breath longer than other primates. While controversial and not widely accepted, it raises intriguing questions about what evolutionary paths might have been possible. Recent discoveries continue to amaze us. In 2020, scientists found that orcas have been sinking boats off the coast of Spain and Portugal, displaying intelligent, coordinated behavior that seems almost human-like in its deliberation. If we're still discovering new behaviors in known species, imagine what unknown species might be capable of. Modern technology has brought us new evidence, or lack thereof. Sonar mapping, deep-sea exploration, and satellite imagery have revealed much about our oceans, yet no conclusive proof of mermaids has emerged. However, the ocean remains largely mysterious. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about our own ocean floor. So are mermaids real? The scientific consensus says no. But the stories persist because they tap into something fundamental about human nature, our relationship with the sea, and our desire to believe in magic. Whether born from misidentified marine life, psychological phenomena, or cultural mythology, mermaids represent our eternal fascination with the unknown depths of our planet. The next time you're by the ocean, remember that beneath those waves lies a world more alien and mysterious than anything we've imagined. And maybe, just maybe, that's where the real magic lies. Script 2. Marine animals that look like mermaids. You're sailing across the ocean when suddenly you see something impossible, a human figure in the water, but with a tail instead of legs. Before you grab your camera, let's talk about the real sea creatures that have been fooling humans for centuries. Throughout history, sailors have reported mermaid sightings, but marine biologists have explanations for every single one. Today we're looking at the actual animals behind the mermaid myth, and trust me, some of these are more incredible than any fantasy creature. First up, the obvious culprit, manatees. These gentle giants are the most likely explanation for mermaid sightings in warm, shallow waters. West Indian manatees can grow up to 13 feet long and weigh over 1,200 pounds. They're massive, but surprisingly graceful in the water. When a female manatee nurses her calf, she holds it with her flippers while floating upright. From a distance, this looks remarkably human-like. Manatees have several features that could fool tired sailors. Their faces are surprisingly expressive, with small eyes and what looks like a nose. They can turn their heads to look at you directly, unlike fish. Their flippers are actually modified arms with finger bones inside, so they can move them almost like hands. And here's the kicker. Their scientific name is Sirenia, literally named after the mythical sirens. But manatees live in shallow, warm waters. What about deep ocean sightings? Enter the dugong, the manatee's ocean-dwelling cousin. Dugongs live in the Indian and Pacific Oceans and have some key differences from manatees. Their tails are more dolphin-like, shaped like a crescent moon, which could easily be mistaken for a mermaid's tail when glimpsed briefly at the surface. Now let's talk about seals, particularly leopard seals. These Antarctic predators are massive, reaching up to 12 feet long and weighing 840 pounds. They're incredibly intelligent and curious about humans. Leopard seals can rear up out of the water, displaying what looks like a human torso. Their necks are longer than other seals, allowing them to move their heads in very human-like ways. They're also known to be playful, sometimes following boats and appearing to interact with humans. But here's where it gets really interesting. Elephant seals. The males have an inflatable nose trunk that they use for making loud calls during mating season. When partially inflated, this trunk could look like human hair flowing in the water. Female elephant seals are much smaller and sleeker, and when they surface near boats, their wet, dark bodies and intelligent eyes could easily trick the mind into seeing something humanoid. Don't forget about sea lions. These are probably the most acrobatic of all pinnipeds. They can launch themselves completely out of the water, twist in the air, and have incredibly expressive faces. California sea lions are particularly curious about humans and will often approach boats to investigate. Their playful nature and human-like intelligence have led to countless mermaid reports along the Pacific coast. Then there are dolphins and small whales. Pilot whales, in particular, have bulbous heads and can be quite large, up to 20 feet long. When they surface, their dark, sleek bodies and intelligent behavior could easily be misinterpreted. Dolphins are even more likely culprits because they're naturally curious about humans and will often ride boat wakes, giving people extended viewing opportunities. But let's get weird. The Japanese giant salamander can grow up to 5 feet long and has a very human-like body shape when swimming. While they live in freshwater, similar large amphibians in coastal areas could contribute to mermaid legends. Their smooth, dark skin and the way they move through water is eerily humanoid. Moving into truly bizarre territory, we have the oarfish. These deep-sea creatures can grow up to 36 feet long, making them one of the longest bony fish in the world. They're silver and ribbon-like, swimming by undulating their entire body. When they occasionally surface, usually when sick or dying, they look absolutely otherworldly. Their long, flowing fins and serpentine movement could easily be mistaken for hair and a mermaid's tail. The goblin shark deserves a mention too. These prehistoric-looking creatures have an extendable jaw that shoots out to catch prey. When relaxed, they have an almost human-like profile, and their pinkish color and weird proportions make them look like something from another planet, or perhaps a mermaid that's seen better days. Recent discoveries have given us even more candidates. The walking shark, discovered off the coast of Australia, uses its fins to walk along the ocean floor. From above, this movement could look remarkably like